just for weeks. Welcome. Good morning, friends. This is Bob from BBD on this lovely Saturday morning. Happy Navratri to all my followers. And here we go on some news fast and furious, which I find slippery in the extreme. Once again, the same stuck record from a drum called Giriraj Singh. Giriraj Singh calls Congress candidate Jinnah sympathizers. I don't understand this. Mr. Giriraj, it's time we grew up as a country. We've got to worry about Bangladesh. We've got to worry about Maldives. We've got many things coming down the pike, and you're worried about Jinnah. Jinnah happened in 47, folks. Anybody who follows this really needs their head examined. Because just as that's happening, look what's the army does, right? Army restores Pak officer's grave, it says. In a step to reinstate the honor of a fallen enemy soldier, the Indian Army has restored the grave of a decorated Pakistani officer killed during the clash along the line of control almost half a century ago. This is India. This is the message that the rest of the world needs to see, that this is what our country is about. Not what Giriraj Singh says, oh, Jinnah followers. That's kind of insane. And he better be looking at this news. Biden vows to repeal Muslim ban if elected. Right now it seems, unless the polls are manipulated and some hidden guys come out of the woodworks, Biden will win. What will Giriraj Singh do then? I'm just wondering, what will everybody in India do who's been running about and beating up on our minority community do? I'm not sure how long Bangladesh will continue to be our ally in our neighborhood as if this continues for very long, right? In fact, we should be using our soft power as far as our Muslim population is concerned to somehow convince Pakistani population that what the army is totally against them. And right now, there is an upgrade opportunity. But when you have things like this, district court admits plea on temple Eidgah complex in Mathura, you say, oh my God, not again. And then you have this Hathras STF likely to ploy to incite caste violence. They have nothing there, folks. Caste violence, foreign influence to destabilize. Guess what? The UP government. My God, that's critical. That's crazy. But this is something we should be more concerned about instead of this Hathras and trying to think that everybody's after Yogi Adityanath, right? 6 months after security withdrawn, Shaurya Chakra awardee shot dead. But this is a guy who fought during the Khalistan movement against the Khalistan. This is of serious concern to India. This are the pointers that Pakistan is playing with fire in Punjab, is what we should be concerned about instead of Jinnah's followers. And this is how the world of drugs works, folks. If it works like this in Mexico, in Colombia, it probably works like this in India, where India, rather than go after all these poor Bollywood, we should be going after the real targets who are really involved in distribution of drugs. And because India has become a hub, whether we like it or not, it has become a hub, right? So here's it. Mexico's former defense minister arrested in the US. He was king of the cartel. Who is a similar guy in India? We need to know. There was some information that maybe the BSF had something on it. I don't know, man. While we go after Jinnah, this is what we should be really putting our shoulder to. Pakistan opposition starts nationwide star to oust Imran government. Imran's 40 deals with everybody, and especially China and General Bajwa. Look at what's happening there. 13 army men among 20 killed in twin terror attacks in Pakistan. A huge blowback. If what happens in Afghanistan and what these guys are doing by messing around with the Uyghurs and overlooking their plight and just worried about Kashmiris, this is going to hit Pakistan real bad, I think. Then you have China insists India vacate Chushul Height. India says clear Pangong North. Jaishankar, Galwan clash profoundly disturbed ties had deep public impact. Absolutely. The public wants to smack anybody from China at this point in time. We don't think we want to be subjugated to the Xis or the Wang Yis or the Song Ying Dong Dings. This is important, and China has totally misread the public mood here. And when that's happening, let's see what's happening here too. Army Vice Chief Lieutenant General Saini to visit US on October 17-20 to boost military cooperation. Important. Because as that's happening, you have maritime intel sharing pact likely during 2+2 with the US. I hope our Vice Chief is going to get some highly offensive weapons to lease them. Then, boom! China sees red as US names officer for Tibet affairs. How about India naming an officer for Tibet affairs? Let's see if we have the guts and glory. Let's see if we have the gazungas to do that. We probably don't. So what the hell? Then you have, this is an interesting note, BlackRock Boost confirms electric van maker's arrival. A British technology company that is developing electric vans for Royal Mail has received 118 million cash injection. This is for all the EV manufacturers in India. I think this is the way to go, and this is what we should be doing, focusing on trying to get a lot of money floating around for this stuff. Then, as usual, India target of Russia's Oxford vaccine disinformation campaign. But here, Dr. Reddy has taken a huge leap of faith to tie up with the makers of Sputnik 5. But okay, Russia does have an advantage and linkage with India's pharmaceutical center. Well, we are covering all our bets. Fantastic. Then we go Europe, which thought it had the virus tamed, faces a resurgence. Absolutely crazy, man. I mean, there's news that India's rate is on a decline. That could be because of a lack of tests, but the second wave could be coming. And this is a very disconcerting article, right? It says Goldman Sachs drives its earnings 17.5% for quarter. Same reports have come out from Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. Guess the only people getting rich are these fat banks, ladies and gentlemen. The poor people, the basic people on the job, people working, are totally misaligned, misconvoluted, misused stock market and financial market. They have not benefited the real economy, and I'm not sure how long that's going to go on, folks. More after the break. Welcome back, folks. Something about the US news. As we all know what happened, there was a town hall, a competing town hall, no face-to-face, one by the NBC, one by the ABC. There was a lot of chatter about castigation of the NBC for doing this, but NBC anchor came out hard and strong, and I don't think Trump got a winning note on this one. They just seem to be on a separate planet. All polls are suggesting a runaway victory for Biden, and what it's suggesting is a bloodbath. As Ted Cruz's word, a bloodbath of Watergate proportions, which includes a larger number of seats in the House of Representatives, the Senate turning blue, and then obviously the presidency. This will be a disaster for the Republicans if all three fall apart. In fact, their focus now is to try and retain the Senate so that bills cannot be passed with ease at all by the Democratic government, right? But, polls are polls, right? What happens, you could have a Clinton surprise that happened in 2016 happen here again, as they say, talk about these hidden Trump voters. But we'll have to wait for that day when it comes, right? What is important to note is what my brother said. If the African American, who was absolutely unenthusiastic about Hillary, comes out to vote in force, which it looks like in the early voting pattern, there is no way in the battleground states that Trump can win. Note this, folks. This is the important part. And here when we go, let's take a look at what's happening in early voting, which is going to actually holding a huge, setting all kinds of records. Early voting breaks records in Texas. Texas counties across Texas broke their own records for early voting. Okay. Then you have queues of early voters put US on path to record poll. More than 14 million Americans have already voted for their next president, with long queues at polling stations suggesting that the clash between President Trump and Joe Biden could beat the biggest turnout on record despite the pandemic. This is working in favor of Biden. If you remember in India, it always suggests that when the voting percentage is higher, the incumbent is in trouble. And this is probably going to hold true there too. So besides African Americans, the youngsters who were totally, not so enthusiastic about Hillary, here's another one. Biden steps up pursuit of youth vote. With less than 8 weeks until the November 3rd election, the Biden campaign is making the urgent and final push to turn out the voting bloc that has proved to be the most elusive. Young voters he struggled to win over during the crowded Democratic primary. Biden's team, previously criticized for a lackluster youth outreach, is pulling out all the stops, bringing celebrities to virtual policies conversation. This is important, and I believe he's having a fair amount of success. And you see success happening, change in the winds, right? When you have something like this, US oil majors increase campaign donation to Democrats. Two largest US energy firms, Chevron Co. and Exxon Mobil Co. have increased the share to Democrats. Remember, they know that if Biden wins, it's going to be all renewable energy, back to taxes on oil, but they're still betting. And this is bad news for Trump. Right? Then you have Trump and Biden spar from afar as US election day nears. And what does Chindanan Rajgada say? More and more Republicans appear to be chastened by Trump's reckless approach to the coronavirus, even as cases in America have surged. They include former New Jersey Governor, this is the big one, Chris Christie. I was wrong. I was wrong not to wear a mask. Here is what happened. A combative Trump, a deliberate Biden spar from afar at town halls. But here, this is what Savannah Guthrie the moderator told Trump. And this was funny. You are the president. You are not like someone's crazy uncle, which is obviously what he was sounding like, right? Then he says Trump undercuts pitch to women older voters. Donald Trump has begun openly acknowledging his precarious re-election chances, but is undercutting his own campaign's attempt to tailor appeal to women and seniors, as polls show that them flocking towards Joe Biden. He's just making fun of the older people. And here it says, right? But that's what generally it isn't a great sign when a candidate starts begging for votes. But that's what President Trump did last night when he pleaded with a crucial voting bloc to support his candidacy. Suburban women, will you please like me? The president said at a rally in Johnston, Pennsylvania. These are not the words of a man who thinks he's running a winning re-election campaign. For a president who loves to throw around the word loser, facing possibility of losing hasn't been easy. Absolutely true, folks. And this is while this was happening, Joe Biden visited Florida as he targets older voters whose support of President Trump has slipped. And here what he says is really crazy. While he throws super spreader parties at the White House where Republicans hug each other without concern of the consequences, how many of you have been unable to hug your grandkids in the last 7 months? And that hit home, folks. It hit home. Then you have this. Democrats' Senate goal. Recent surveys show tight races, chances to flip seats in states such as Arizona, Georgia, Colorado, and Maine. Conservatives nervous about a Trump loss are hoping to maintain control of the Senate as a bulwark against a carte blanche Democrat agenda, which is not turning out to be difficult, as you see what happens here. Slamming Trump, GOP Senator warns of a Republican bloodbath. Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska issued a scathing takedown of President Trump during a telephone town hall with constituents saying he cozied up to dictators and white supremacy. Man, things are not looking good for them at all, right? It says, over the past week, incumbent Republican senators facing tough re-elections fights in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Maine, Montana, North Carolina, and South Carolina have run a combined total of 48 television ads according to advertising analytics and ad tracking firm. None of them mentioned President Trump. Things are changing, folks. India better be ready here too, because we've cozied up thinking Trump will win. We are going to have to balance our bets. Jai Hind.
Driving force of the nation, now driving Max Plus Logistics. Unparalleled discipline, exceptional work ethic and diligence combined with mental and physical agility to meet any challenges. Moving forward on the right path in the face of physical stress and adversity. Max Plus Logistics. Wait till the end for some more information. May the Max Force be with you.